Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout-out goes to Dabox Hadui 6424. The box was first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus wins this shout-out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and I have something neat for you today, folks. This is the EXHOBBY / Volantex F4U Corsair, a new aircraft that's just come out, folks. It's a large 500 millimeter wingspan warbird with brushless motor. Okay, this is pretty neat, folks. This is similar to what came out last year from Volantex. Volantex put out last year a couple, or actually one brushless motor 500 millimeter wingspan aircraft. Well, they sold it both through eSheen. This is the eSheen version, and there was also a version, the near miss, that was also coming from EXHOBBY, like this particular aircraft here. Now, this is a larger version of the F4U Corsair. Volantex also makes a little 400 millimeter version with a brushed motor, but much smaller aircraft. But the advantage having this larger airplane is this should provide more stability in turbulent air, in windy days. The little 400 millimeter warbirds that you've seen me fly in the past, those are really hard to fly, folks, in expert mode. Any wind gust or any little breeze hits those things and they would bounce around. Hopefully this larger, heavier aircraft won't be as affected as much by wind, so that flying in manual mode should be a bit easier. And I'm going to try to fly a portion of the flights tomorrow in manual mode to show you what it can do when you do fly it in manual mode. As I mentioned, it is a brushless motor aircraft for durability. You don't have to worry about that motor burning out. Additionally, it only weighs 138 grams. That means this does not require registration in most countries. Okay, you can just get this aircraft and you don't have to worry about registering it with the FAA. Now, if it's an efficient flyer, it uses little 400 millimeter 2S batteries. It also can be flown with 3S though, folks. 3S, if you want to get a lot more power, you can get yourself a 3S battery and push it in there. I recommend getting 400 millimeters to make sure it fits into the bay. But if you have a 3S battery, I recommend trying it. It should give you a lot more power on this airplane and do even better stunts with it. Now, the Miss Helen that I flew last year, that P-51D from Volantex, that would fly for close to 15 minutes. I think I got 13 and a half minutes with this 400 millimeter battery. I'm hoping this is just as efficient. When we take it out tomorrow, we'll see if that is true. Now, it's a 4-channel aircraft, a true 4-channel aircraft, and that means we have throttle control of the propellers. We have control of the ailerons through this X-brace. They call it X-brace. We have control of the rudder, and we have control of the elevator. Additionally, we have control of this tail gear. This tail gear will turn right or left with the rudder. It's connected with the rudder system so that you have steering on the ground. That is great, folks. Flying these model aircraft, especially if you like taxiing model aircraft, without that tail steering, that can be very difficult. You're just depending on the rudder input to turn the aircraft. So this aircraft should be able to turn quite easily on the ground. Now, most of my flights, I don't fly on the ground because I like to fly out in the grassy fields. But if, depending on the condition of the baseball diamond where I fly tomorrow, I'll try to demonstrate some taxiing with this aircraft and takeoff and landings from the ground, if the ground is nice and smooth, that is, tomorrow. Let's see, other things about it. It uses a 4-bladed quick disconnect propeller, and the reason for the quick disconnect is in crashes, this is supposed to pop off. Okay, the idea being, and automatically pop back in again. It's just held in place by friction. The idea being, though, in a crash, it's good to have that propeller pop off so that you don't damage the motor, with the motor trying to continue turning that propeller. And if that propeller is bound up, that can mess up the motor and can mess up the electronic speed controller. So you don't want that happening. It's good to be able for that motor to disconnect. Other things about it, it is ready to fly. I forgot to mention that. This is a biggie, folks. It comes with its own transmitter. although it can also be flown using V761 protocol with multi-protocol transmitters. And I'm going to try to demonstrate that too tomorrow when we go flying. Now, speaking of this transmitter, this is your particular transmitter. It has a lot of features. Okay, it has a stunt button where you can press this button here, and while flying, it will automatically do a roll by just telling it which direction to roll. If you press that button while flying, it will automatically do a loop by just pulling back on the pitch stick, like so. Other things about it, this button can be used for our automatic takeoffs. Now, this is a cool feature of this particular airplane. Before you give the aircraft throttle, before you take off, actually, you press this button here, it will start the transmitter beeping. And with the aircraft in hand, you got to hand launch it. You give it full throttle, and the aircraft will climb to a certain altitude, and then it will start doing automatic circles in the air until you take control of the aircraft. It gives you a little more time to get accustomed to the aircraft being in the air, and then you can take control of the aircraft by just moving your pitch roll stick any direction, and then that will turn off that automatic takeoff capability. Other things about it, it has one key return, and that's done through these buttons here while sitting on the aircraft, or while sitting on the ground before takeoff. If you push this button up like so, that will set the direction of flight. And when you want it to come back in the opposite direction, you press the throttle trim button down, and the aircraft will turn around and fly back toward you. Now, that is not a true return to home, folks. All it does is fly in the exact opposite direction that it was pointed at takeoff. So don't depend on that to automatically bring you home, because if you're off to the right or off to the left, that actually can cause the aircraft to fly away from you. Other things this transmitter has, which is neat, is telemetry. It will give you low battery warnings. Once the battery gets low, you'll hear constant beeping from the transmitter. Or if you have weak signal, if you're flying close to 200 meters, which, by the way, that's the range of this transmitter, is 200 meters, it will warn you with weak signal will be 2 beeps. You'll hear beep, 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 beep. That tells you, you should be flying back. Actually, if you hear beeping at all from this transmitter, that's telling you either you're low battery or you're getting low, or you're getting too far away with the aircraft. Bring it. In other words, you hear beeping, bring the aircraft back home. It's time to bring the aircraft home. You're too far away or your battery's too low. Another thing this aircraft has is Find My Aircraft beeping. If you push down on the throttle trim button while in flight and hold it down for 3 seconds, the aircraft will start beeping. What's the importance of that? Well, I've crashed in farmers' fields before, and I spent up to an hour looking for my airplanes. I have. So this would have been a great help if I had that feature. Just pressing that button down, and I'd listen for that beeping. I'd be able to find the aircraft. So that is a great feature to have. It really is. Okay. Other things about it, I mentioned the V761 protocol. I didn't go into the details of the airplane. I want to take a closer look at it now. Let's take a close look at this. The airplane does have a nice detailed little pilot inside there, flying the airplane, as you can see here, with a clear cockpit. Nice decorative decals on it. Okay, that's that Marine Dream is the name of the picture on there. It's actually nicely detailed. Real pretty airplane from front to back, the whole thing. Showing you it all, looking at the base, the belly. Let's look at the belly. Now, the one thing I do want to show you up close is these landing gear, in particular these landing gear doors. It does come with landing gear doors. They are really difficult to install, folks. To put them in, you got to put them in an angle like so, and they're supposed to clip onto the main gear. Now, the problem is they don't like to clip onto this main gear because these circles are in the way here of the clip. So, in effect, just put them on like so for decorative purposes. I would recommend removing them from flight, because if you look at the profile from the front, they are going to create some drag on airplanes. So if you want to fly a little more efficiently, I would recommend taking them off in flight. And I probably will take them off in flight when we fly tomorrow, because they're not really needed. They're just for decoration. But they do make the aircraft look pretty, I got to admit. So let's put it down there. So that, in effect, is the Volantex. Now I want to plug in the batteries and demonstrate some of the features that I just spoke about here. So hold on a second while I put in the battery in. We'll play some of those features. Okay, I'm plugging in the battery. And you hear the ESC's chirping and going through the check. And you turn on the transmitter. You always, for these Volantexes, you plug in the battery first and then you turn on the transmitter. But first off, let's try that Find Your Airplane. 1001, 1002, 1003. See, that is cool. Okay, that will be easy to find that airplane if you crash it in a field or crash it in a grassy surface. And you can turn it off, I guess, by pressing and hold it again one more time like so. Again, I can't demonstrate the telemetry features of the beeping of the transmitter until we go flying. But let's go over some of the controls here. Now, checking the controls, we have aileron controls, you see there. We have rudder control. Now, with that rudder control, look at the landing gear wheels. That'll help steering on the ground. So that's nice to have. Checking the elevators. Elevators work too. And to arm the aircraft, you have to move the throttle up until you hear a beep, then move the aircraft throttle down until you hear a beep, and now those propellers will spin. Let's check that out. So there you go. That's how you do that. Now, for takeoff, that automatic takeoff, before you arm those motors, you press this button down, and you'll hear that beeping, and then you give it throttle, and it'll do the automatic takeoff. But right now, since I've armed the motors, if I did that, it's going to try to do a loop or a roll. So it's set to acrobat mode. Now the next thing I want to do is demonstrate that it can be flown using V761 protocol. So to do that, I'm going to disconnect the battery again and turn off this transmitter. Get out my multi-protocol transmitter, my T-light. I like these T-lights, folks. These are good. It has a picture quadcopter 101 in there too. They're good transmitters. I love this. I never get rid of my little T-light. But anyway, switch warnings, make sure the switches are all safe. Right now I have it set to V761 protocol, but the one thing you need to do though, folks, is bind it every time, unfortunately. Let me find the bind control here. Get it set to bind. It's almost ready. So we're going to plug in the battery, make sure black to black. And just want to show you that hitting that, right now I don't have any control, but if I press the bind, we have control. So see, now I have control using my multi-protocol. And also, let's check out that stabilization system. See how, I forgot to mention, stabilization system of this transmitter. Let's talk about that. Okay, I rebounded to this transmitter. I wanted to talk about this switch here. This aircraft has auto stabilization system to make it easy for beginner pilots. With the switch all the way back, like so, that puts it in beginner mode, and that turns on the stabilization system. What does that do? Well, if you look at the ailerons there, as I tilt right and left, notice how they automatically counter the direction of movement to try to level the aircraft. So this has auto leveling. The same with going up or down. The elevator will move up or down to try to level the aircraft. Same with right or left. The rudder will try to keep the aircraft going in a forward direction. So with the auto stabilization system, all you need to do if you get into trouble is let go of the sticks, and this aircraft will quickly and automatically level itself, bring it to a level flight, so to prevent a crash. That's the idea. In mid mode, there's a second position there. In mid mode, the same. Okay, or actually, let me go back to talking about beginner. However, in beginner mode, there is restrictions, what's called angle restrictions, that prevents the aircraft from exceeding a certain bank angle or exceeding a certain pitch angle. Okay, you can only go so much pitch up or down or so much roll right or left in the beginner mode. And again, that's to make it less likely for beginners to crash. However, when you put it into mid mode, it still has auto stabilization system, so if you get into trouble, just let go of the sticks and it'll level itself. However, it turns off those angle restrictions. What does that mean? That means you can do loops and rolls. I'm not sure if you can do rolls. Some of these aircraft you can do rolls, some you can't. But most of them, when in mid position, you can do loops. We'll try that out and see if we have both loop and roll. I'm hoping we do in mid mode, but I'm pretty sure you just got roll. But we'll demonstrate that when we go out in the field tomorrow. And finally, in expert mode, what that does is just turns off that stabilization system entirely, turns off the angle restrictions, your full manual flight of the aircraft. You have full control of the aircraft. Again, that's for experts. If you do get into trouble while flying in expert mode, all you need to do, you're headed toward the ground and you go, oh no, I shouldn't be in an expert mode. Just flip the switch backwards and let go of the sticks, and the aircraft will automatically right itself and to prevent a crash. So let's pull out that battery there. Okay, let's go over what you get in the package. Okay, first off, it comes in a very nice box, huge box, all in one piece. Very little needed to be done to put it together other than installing the landing gear and these landing gear doors. Again, these are for decorative purposes, in my opinion. But other things you get in this box is, in addition to the aircraft, you get three-bladed propellers. You get the instruction manual, very good instruction manual. Recommend reading it. It's in English, so that's good too. You get 2 batteries, 2 400 millimeter 2S batteries. But again, keep in mind, you can fly this aircraft with a 3S battery if you can find one that'll fit into the battery bay. And let's take a look at that battery bay here. It's a very big bay, so you should be able to find a battery that'll fit in there. Let's demonstrate with the 400 millimeter in there. There's a lot of space in there, so there should be room for a 3S battery to fit there also. You get the charger for the batteries, as you see here. Here's the charger, and you get a spare hub for the propeller if you do need to change that out. I don't see you really need to change that unless you change the motor, but you do get a spare hub if you need that. And you get the charger and you get the controller. So again, it's ready to fly. All you need is batteries for the controller. And by the way, this takes 4 AA batteries in the back there. See these high quality batteries that I got from a well-known vendor. So they work. Okay, I go through batteries so quickly that I just buy them from Dollar Tree. But Dollar Tree batteries do work in these. So that's what you get, folks, with the Corsair. I am excited to fly this bird. It's pretty neat. I love the look of it. I just want to see how it flies. So let's take it out in the field, folks, and see how it flies. The weather's finally cleared up here in Erie, PA. It's getting warmer. The field that I fly shouldn't have any more snow on it. So let's take it out there and see what it'll do. So hope you enjoy this flight. Good afternoon, Quadcopter 101 here, and welcome to beautiful Pleasant Ridge Park for the inaugural flight of the F4U Corsair 500 millimeter from EXHOBBY / Volantex. Okay, I already have the battery plugged into this, so we're ready to go with the battery. But let's turn on, actually, and also I want to set this direction here as the takeoff direction. Turning on the transmitter, and it's connected. And to set the takeoff direction that way, we're going to push up on this button here and hold it for 3 seconds. Actually, nope, that was not what I wanted to do. Let's push down then. Now, turning it off again, pushing up. There we go. That's set the takeoff direction. You got to push up on that trim button for the throttle. And when I want to fly backwards, all I got to do is push down real quick and it should fly back toward me. Now the wind's coming from that direction, and before we take off, I'm going to arm the motors. And before we take off, I'm going to press this button once, and we're going to do that auto takeoff with a hand launch. So, pressing the button once, and then giving it throttle, and it should go to the air and then go into circles, automatic circles. Now I'm not doing that, folks. It's doing that itself. So, see, I'm not doing that. But to take over, once it's in the air, is give it a little bit of trim, or not trim, just move the right stick, and there you go. Now we're in beginner rate right now, and we have quite a bit of wind right now. And I'm going to have to go to intermediate mode because I need a little bit more authority on the aircraft. And there we got it now in mid mode. See how it can turn? Whoa! Turning, turning, turning. Okay, now one thing you don't got is
it doesn't turn off in mid mode. It does not turn off the angle restrictions for this mode. But how about for doing a loop? Pushing down, pulling up. There, we can do automatic loops. Or actually, that was a loop using mid mode. So what it does is turns off the angle restriction for pitch. So you can do loops like that right overhead. See? So mid mode's pretty darn cool. I like to fly in mid mode mainly. Okay, let's bring it in close. Boy, that wind's picking up. It's supposed to be a nice day today with no wind, but the weatherman is often wrong here in Erie. Loop it right in front of us. That was cool. Coming around. This is a nice flyer. Volantex does it again. Volantex puts out really cool airplanes. Really cool airplanes, don't they? Now, I did a review for Volantex about 6 months ago, and they got mad at me for, they thought that I had been reviewing for other people planes that they had sent me. And then in reality, you know, I got the planes that I was reviewing from another vendor. So I don't know why they would get mad at me for that. But Volantex, if you hear me, this one came from EXHOBBY, just let you know, so don't get mad at me. This did not come from you. EXHOBBY sent me this one. And thank you, EXHOBBY, by the way, for sending me this nice plane to review. Oh, it does loop so well in mid mode. Now first, I have 2 batteries today. We're going to do a second battery flying it with my B761 transmitter, okay? Let me go up a bit higher because I want to try going expert mode. Expert mode now. Where's that beginner? That's beginner. Sorry, I don't have any authority on this thing. Expert mode now. Flies nice in expert mode, but it's windy. Oh, the wind got it that time. It's windy. Going back to mid mode. There, I was going to the ground in mid mode there. Just let go of the sticks, folks. Let's show you that. Let go of the sticks, it rights itself. You get in a weird position and just let go of the sticks, it'll right itself. Okay. Going up higher again. Let's try that again. Expert mode. Up and over. Okay. It's windy, but I'm flying it. Up and over. I'm still in manual. Still in manual. In this wind. And yeah, I can fly it in this wind. Going back to expert there. The wind was gutting me there. Pick it up a bit. We're going to keep it in beginner now. Or actually, let's go back to mid. So we can do more hard banking. Oh, that wind was getting it there. So yeah, it's a windy day up there today. Cutting back the throttle. Now, I did not take off those landing gear doors like I said I was going to do. Are they still on? I think so. So they didn't come off. Oh, there's turkey vultures. That means, and the wind's coming from my face here. Let's see if I can do some slope soaring, folks. I'm going to step back a bit. Yeah, look at that, hit that. Okay, there is a little hill there. Not much of a hill, but it's enough to make the wind blow upward or go upward so that you can actually do slope soaring. And it's there, look at that. It hit it. Let's do a little bit of slope soaring here. I can cut back on the throttle and maybe get a real long flight. Slope soaring. Beautiful day for it. Boy, This has been the longest winter I've had here in Erie since I moved here 5 years ago from the desert. Wow, look at that. Just staying up there in that wind. Hardly any throttle at all. I'm just blup, blup, blup. It's going higher and higher and higher. Cutting the throttle. Let's bring it back down. Okay, I'm gliding right now, folks. Gliding in the slope soaring there. Okay, I lost the lift. Give it a little more throttle, throttling up and coming back over our way. Fun plane here. But again, it's windy and it's bouncing it around. So that's why it's bouncing around, folks. Oh, there's another turkey vulture. Let's go up there with him. Flying with the turkey vultures. I like doing that. Oh, it's bouncing, that wind is bouncing it on that lip there. It's really turbulent. It's really turbulent right there. But it's staying up there. Slope soaring off a little lip there. Right there. There's a hill there, right on our side of the baseball diamond there. Whoa, look at it hit that. Oh, look at it climb. Look at that climb. Look at it climb. And it's going higher and higher and higher. I'm cutting back throttle. Come back down here. That's a little too high. Let's see. Oh, I lost the lift. I lost it. Cut back throttle. I got it again. Got the lift again. I'm moving over here a little closer so we can see this up close as I try to slope soar with the Corsair. Okay, that's enough slope soaring. Let's do some stunts. Whoa. Came at me. Don't you come at me. Going again. Ups and over. Fun plane. Up and over. Again, this is in mid mode. I'm not flying manually there. Let's see if I can go up again and try manual again. Manual again. How about there you go. Aileron roll way up there. Another aileron roll. Back to beginner. Back to mid. Back to expert. Mid again. I wish it wasn't wind today. But yeah, although it's easier to fly in expert, let's do a roll again. I'm still in expert. Going around. Whoa. Looping it in expert. Rolling it in expert. Coming around. Still an expert. And coming back to mid. I'm going way too high. that updraft there is huge today. Coming back down. Too much updraft there from the wind. Wind is coming right across that farmer's field there and allowing me to do that. But it's also creating a lot of turbulence there too. If I go further down the field though, in front of that lip, it might be a little less turbulent. Let's go down that way. Going back to expert. Okay. Come down. Going to the left. Still an expert. And we're back to mid. So, okay, for the remainder of the flight, let's come down real low and fly close. Wow, look, it's just hovering in air from the wind. Just hovering right there from that wind, but let's come down. Bring it in closer, closer, closer. Closer, trying to bring it closer, but the wind is creating some issues there doing that. Just zigzag in front of us for a bit. This is a wonderful plane. Volantex makes wonderful planes. I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. Please, Volantex, don't be mad at me. That wasn't your plane you sent me. What was the one that was accusing me of reviewing for another vendor? It was that glider of theirs, black glider. I forgot the name of it. But that one actually came from Bangwood. So, ooh, look how that can turn on a dime. Let's try it this way. Turn on a dime. And no tip stalls. This is a wonderful flyer. Going back to expert because I want to fly some more in expert. Uh-oh. Okay, remember that beeping? That's low battery. The airplane's beeping too, so we're going to bring it in. Looks like that's the end of our flight today with that battery. Plop. That's the end of the flight with that battery. Now I got a second battery, and let's try it with the multi-protocol transmitter, my T-Lite. So hold on, folks, while I put another battery in, and we'll send it up with the T-Lite. So, okay, I lied. There's one thing more I got to demonstrate here with this transmitter. I forgot to demonstrate the stunt button. So let's do that before we go switching to the T-Lite. So launching again into the wind, mid mode. Going up a bit higher, turning it around, pressing stunt button, pulling back, come back down. Stunt button, let's do a roll. There we go, roll. Can do a roll in the opposite direction. Stunt button. Didn't want to do it. Try it again. Whoa. Pulling up. There we go. That's an automatic loop. Coming around the other way. Let's try roll. And that's the automatic roll. So yeah, I can do automatic loops and rolls. I'm not a fan of doing them that way. I prefer to do them manually. But let's bring it in for a landing again. Look at that glide. And while we're here, we'll switch to the T-Lite, which I brought with us today. So hold on while I do that. Okay, we are bound to the T-Lite protocol, or T-Lite transmitter with V761 protocol. V761 protocol is the one I'm using here, folks. So let's see if it flies with this. Throttle up. Going to beginner or mid. See how it flies in mid. Oh yeah, flying quite well in mid. Let's try it around. Coming around, throttling up. Throttle up. Okay, how about coming around this way? We'll go to expert. Whoa, didn't switch back in time. He lost it there. Let's see how crash worthy this is. We're about to find out, huh? Now, I'm expecting that propeller probably came off or maybe broken. I brought a spare in case it is. But let's see. Okay, that hit pretty good right here. I'm going to put my transmitter here because I don't see the propeller around anywhere. Of course it came off. Now, I got a bunch of those three-bladed propellers at home, but I only brought one spare here, but there it is. So it's kind of hard to see these. So it might be a good idea if you get one of these to paint them. Paint them orange on the outer side so that you can see them, because once they're flipped upside down like that, you can't see them, okay? I had a hard time seeing it there in the grass, but plugging it back in should be good. How about our landing gear? Yeah, we lost one of the landing gear. I predicted that too. Now that one is going to be hard to find. Even harder because it's so small. But I'm not seeing it. And I don't really care about that. These little things. Again, this is just decoration only and really not needed for flying. I'm going to pull this other one off. Yeah, because it's going to create uneven lift. And we don't want that. So hold on while I do that, folks. Okay, and put that in my pocket. Or uneven torque on the airplane. So we should be good to go again. Going back to intermediate, midpoint. It's too breezy to fly today. You know, larger airplane, it's better in wind, but not wind like today. Today is pretty bad. It's a lot of wind. So let's get back in the air with the T-light. And we'll fly the remainder. What the hey? I was pulling back on the stick. What did I do wrong? It did not react to my stick commands. I should have checked the surfaces before takeoff, because there's obviously something wrong there. Let me see. Gotta find that propeller again. Okay, I have throttle authority, but I no longer have any authority on the right stick nor on the rudder. And I'm not quite sure what happened there. So what I'm going to do is turn this off and try reconnecting with the main transmitter, the stock transmitter. Let me turn all the buttons off, and we'll try it with the stock transmitter. I'm hoping I didn't break it with that crash. Okay, I've reconnected with this transmitter. Everything seems to be fine now. Put the throttle, and I put a new prop on there. Make sure that prop is spinning correctly. Okay, I got everything going again, making sure it flies with this transmitter. Get it back in the air real quick just to test it. And I see I bent up my landing gear wheel a bit. But depending on how it goes, we'll try to, if it flies well with this, we'll try to go back to the T-light. So putting it in mid mode, I like mid mode best. Throttling up. It hit my finger on the way out, but yeah, it's doing well now. So I don't know what that was with the T-light, why it didn't do well with the T-light, but it's flying like this now. Flying good with this now. You know what? Let's forget the T-light for today, because it's flying so well with the stock transmitter for the time being. So I'm going to use the remainder of this battery to fly it real close to us, just so you see it in flight. Just so you can see this thing flying. Because I know that first flight I did was kind of far out. You know, I didn't fly very close. But you want to see this flying up close. I'm sure most of you do. It's doing a good job up close. Going up overhead through the sun. It's powering up a bit. Doing a loop. Can it still do loops? It can still do loops. Come back over this way. Overhead. Coming down lower. Too high. Going around again. Throttling up. Throttle up. Pulling a loop. That was a poor loop. Not enough throttle. Not enough speed. Let's try that again. No, that was another poor loop. Sorry. The wind's screwing it up. I think you need to go into the wind to do better loops. That was going across the wind. I was trying to, so you could see the loop. But the problem was, let's try this. There we go. Going into the wind works much better, of course. Going sideways to the wind makes it hard to do that loop. Okay, come back down. Like I said, we're supposed to be flying close. Low and slow. Let's see about doing some low and slow flying. Low and slow. I used to fly hang gliders a long time ago when I was much younger. And I was subscribed to the old magazine for hang gliders, was called Low and Slow. When the hang gliders first started out, the motto was never fly higher than you care to fall. That changed rapidly over the years. But yeah, beginner hang glider people would just fly off of sand dunes and such. I would fly off of ski slopes. but I'm too old for that now. So, but oh yeah, this is flying nicely with this stock transmitter. Zoom. But yeah, I was flying it with this T-light there for a while until I crashed it. I was worried I messed it up, but it's still flyable. The only thing I did was lose one of those landing gear covers. I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, when you go flying, take them off. Those are just for display, like I mentioned. But wonderful plane, huh? Let's see if we can do a barrel roll. Yeah, well, kind of. Coming back over here. Come back over here. But boy, every time I take a plane out, you know, I look for windless days, and the weatherman predicts windless. Well, it's really hitting now, the wind. The weatherman predicts no wind, and then I come out here to this field, and sure enough, it's like 10, 15 mile an hour winds. Wonderful plane, though. Wow. Trying to fly circles around myself, but that wind is saying, no, you can't. Okay, right now it's hovering, going downwind. Oh, downwind, and I lost it. Stalled it in that turn with the wind. It is crash worthy, isn't it, folks? Please don't say I lost that propeller again. Those propellers keep coming off, but there it is. I really need to paint these. They are hard to see in the grass. Volantex, I know you're watching. Consider offering propellers in different colors. Okay, you know, these pop-off propellers are great, but they are hard as heck to find once they come off. They really are, especially in grass. So yeah, I would recommend folks painting your propellers, or Volantex providing bright orange propellers so you can find these things. Okay, let's try some more slope soaring here. Oh no, we're going to call it quits here, folks. It's flying kind of wonky right now. I don't think that propeller's on properly. Let me take a look here and see. Oh, that's on there properly. It's just too windy. Let's get some of that grass off of there. Oh, the battery's dying. That's why. I was going, there's more and more power here. So we're going to call it quits. That'll be the end of the second flight. So, well, it's not beeping right now. Okay. It's not beeping right now. I don't know why it was beeping there for a second. But it was. I thought I had more flight time than that. Okay, climb, climb, climb with that wind, with that slope wind there going into that. Okay, I'm gonna just hover it up there, and that we'll try some slope soaring again. It's just bobbing around with the wind. There's no throttle on this. Just staying up there in the wind. It is a good glider. Oh, I shouldn't be going downwind like that. Always turn into the winds, folks, when you're slope soaring. It's just bouncing around with the wind. It's gliding again. Slope soaring. Oh, I lost it. Lost the wind. Going back into the wind. Wind is getting real strong now. And this would be impossible to fly without safe mode right now. the way that wind's buckling it. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Almost flying 3D here. I'm backing away from that lip. That's just too much turbulence there. That slope soaring lip. Way too much turbulence. Moving back farther. There we go. That's better. We're coming over this way. Stay over here. But yeah, this is a great plane. Zoom. Wow, if you can put up with a wind like this. Okay, we're going to call it quits. It's way too much wind right now. Bobbing around in the wind. But I'm just going to give it more throttle here until the battery dies here. See if we can fight through that wind. It is a long flyer, ain't it? Well, okay, we're going to call it there. That's enough. That wind's getting too strong here, folks. Too strong. So, Corsair can fly in the wind, but it can be quite turbulent flying in this wind. But yeah, that would have been impossible to fly in expert mode. Even, this bigger plane, that would have still been impossible to fly with this much wind. So, but it did fly. So that's the Corsair, F4U Corsair from EXHOBBY Volantex. Fun plane, very capable plane. Just don't fly it on hurricane wind days. I'm guessing about 10 miles per hour right now. Yeah, definitely about 10, somewhere a little bit above 10. Definitely. So, this is Quadcopter 101. Hope you enjoyed this flight. Quadcopter 101, signing out.
Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.